So we were discussing heart. We were done with basic information. I mean, like this. I'm not sure if it's clear. I mean, if you've watched that, then it would be clear. But still, I'm just giving an overview. Our heart is consist of like it's have an outer covering called as this one pericardium. Then this pericardium divided into two layers, serosa and fibrous. So serosa is the inner one, fibrous is the outer one, and the fluid which is present in between that's called as pericardial fluid. And our heart has three layers: epicardium, myo, and endocardium. So yeah, this was the we discussed. Now I'm just going to discuss the inner structure of human heart. Okay, so I'm sure it's like there. Now I was done with basic information as well. So I'm just making a heart. Thank God it's looking better, but yes, okay. So I was starting with the heart. As I just told you, we have three layers. I'll make layers, but then I'll erase because otherwise it will get messed up. So it's like this is the one layer. The inner layer, myocardium, is like having squamous cells like these. So this is myocardium. Then start with the inner one that's called as myocardium is the middle one, and here this is the endo. Endo have the squamous cells, then middle is myo, and the last one is epicardium, myocardium, these all. So it should be clear. I mean, if you've watched that video. Oh God, sorry. Let me just erase it. So like. So yes, I'm sure it would be clear now. Starting first thing, like here you see a wall between that. I mean, here you can see a wall present. Then let me just tell you how many valves and these all. Let me just tell you this because it's very important. You need to remember that valves, this mean a space, or they're just getting in mid between. A wall is present. You can call valve as a wall, right? This valve is divided into two parts. It's like atrioventricular valve, atrioventricular, atrioventricular valve. Second is semilunar valve. Okay, then this atrioventricular valve is divided into two parts. What these are, they are called as tricuspid and bicuspid. Tricuspid, bicuspid. So when I just use these terms, so remember these are called as valves. Okay, so yes, here are the valves present. So in the first side, here the valve you will see is called as tricuspid valve, and here you see the valve is called as bicuspid. I'm just okay, let me just write it, bicuspid valve. Then after that, as I just told you about the layering and these all, now here this is only the atrioventricular valve, right? Semilunar valve is remaining. So where is semilunar? So valve present over here, that's called as semilunar valve. They both have the same meaning. Otherwise here there's different names. Here it's like the same, semilunar valve. So yes, here you will see that we have valves, and like the upper thin walled chamber, we have four chambers. This is very basic information I might have not told you. And because you all know we have four chambers in our heart, like two are the upper one, two are the downward. So the upper and the right side, it's like called as atrium. It's like called as atria, but singular we just called them as atrium. and the thick wall chamber which is present below, they are called as ventricle. So if I just write it, ventricle, this is called as arteria. Then it again come which is right. We have right arteria, right, then left arteria, right ventricle, left ventricle. Okay, so yes, this should be clear. Then the blood, I mean the entire blood which is carried by heart, here you will see the biggest, I mean artery, biggest vein that's coming from our entire body and giving blood to the heart, that's called as vena cava. So vena cava is present here, vena cava. Okay, so yes, this should be clear. And that which take blood away, which that's called aorta, that's the biggest artery, right? And yes, this bicuspid, I mean the wall, this bicuspid wall have another name too. So let me just write it here. This bicuspid has another name which is called as mitral wall. This can be MCQs too. This is mitral wall. Okay, I'm sure this have just created a mess, but I will just wind up. So here these all the layers, tricuspid wall, and yes, here in this area you will see few muscles like these. That muscles attach thread fibrous thread like structure. They are muscles are called as caudal tendicase. They are called as caudal tendicase. Okay, and these muscles are like, of course you know that we have muscles of three types: skeleton, smooth, and cardiac muscles. But right now, okay, let me just write that too because I'm not sure. Muscles that are divided into three parts: skeleton, smooth, and here we have cardiac muscles. So when we talk about the heart is like study of heart is like cardiac. Wherever you see cardiac word, this means that's related to heart. So cardiac cycle, like this means the time duration, one complete cycle of arterial and ventricular systole diastole, that's called as cardiac cycle. So like when word cardiac is used, this means that's called as, that's related to our heart, right? So this is the structure. Now again, here in this one side you will see one type of depression, I mean depression in sense a structure which is folded or a little curve, like this type of structure. Then this type of structure is called as fossa avula. And right, then we have valve, as I just told you, these are anteroventricular valve. This is called arterioventricular valve. Again it's divided, that's another matter, like bicuspid and tricuspid. And yes, here you will see some more structure. So I mean here I was just discussing that we have a valve like structure present in between this, that's called as septum. So septum is like that differentiate or that make a difference, or they separate right chamber to left chamber by a muscle. That muscle is called as septum. So I'm sure this should be very much clear. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.